anytime you have a disaster on a scale like this, whether it's an earthquake or a hurricane or even a major storm, sometimes you don't see the worst damage and the most intense pictures for several days and sometimes even weeks, because when you have roads damaged, bridges down, there's nobody in those places, and they tend to be the more poor areas where building standards are not as high, mountainside towns and that sort of thing, where people don't have the technology to take pictures and then send them worldwide, and people can't get to those areas as easily to assess the damage. So we should just say that. That's not to say that this is not a much, much better outcome than the earthquake we saw in Haiti just a month ago. The president has said that, yes, there are 3 regions that are now considered catastrophic areas, or she called a state of catastrophe for these 3 regions, and that we know the damage is extensive. But in the pictures we're seeing, yes, buildings, modern ones especially, seem to be mostly intact, and that the damage that is being reported seems to be in the older ones, at least at this point of the assessment.
Yeah, you make a very good point, and to compound what you were saying, the fact that there is little power in certain remote regions, they say power outages are widespread there, that also compounds the ability to get those pictures and get information as to what exactly is going on. We have seen a picture of a parking structure, Michelle, that had nobody, fortunately, inside of it. Of course, it happened at 3:34 in the morning, most people presumably sleeping at that time. However, the 70 cars plus that were inside that parking garage have been flattened. That had collapsed in on itself, but again, loss of life, none at that particular area. You mentioned the Haiti quake. We should tell people that that quake 7.0, this one 8.8. To put that in perspective, everyone, this quake in Chile released about 500 times more energy than the one in Haiti on January 12th. One thing that has been emitted from this, Michelle, is a tsunami watch, tsunami warning in different areas, but they extend all the way across the Pacific Ocean at this point. There have been watches posted in the Philippines. Can you speak to that, the extent to which people are keeping their eye on the waves?
People are definitely aware of it, and they are preparing, and we know that an advisory for tsunami, which is different than a warning, has been issued for parts of the coast of California too. So those messages are getting out there to people, and we know that there have been evacuations already in Easter Island, which is in the Pacific. I mean, the Pacific is basically a big bowl, so if you have a major disturbance in one part of it, that wave and then the series of waves that follow extend out throughout the Pacific. It's hard to imagine, considering the vastness of that area. But water can be immensely destructive, and that's what people are worried about, especially when these waves are moving quickly. It really depends on where you're located, what's in your way, how deep the water is. There are all those factors. So at this point, even when you talk to the top scientists about the tsunami risk, they can't really say with any definite ability, based on the methods that we have now, of who could be most affected and how high that water will be. So Japan was saying that they could expect a wave of possibly tens of centimeters within the next 24 hours. Hawaii was expecting a wave maybe around 11:30 a.m. their time. But at this point, that is indefinite. We just don't know how severe the height of the water could be in some of these places, especially the most densely populated places. And we should also say that oh, go ahead, Alex. What are you going to say?
I was just going to say, you brought up Hawaii, and I'm looking at a report here, this from the Eva Beach, Hawaii Tsunami Center, and you mentioned the time approximate that a wave would strike there. Again, this is all approximated, but we're told that tsunami warning sirens will be sounding in Hawaii at 6 a.m. their local time. So that's about 3 hours from now. People that are asleep may be awakened by the sound of these tsunami warning sirens. And you mentioned also the advisories, Michelle. I want to note that while we have these up to California's coast and beyond up in the coast of Alaska, from Kodiak, Alaska to Attu, Alaska, interestingly, it is not there along British Columbia in terms of concerns for Vancouver. For all of us that have been watching the Olympics there these last 2 weeks and know there's a densely populated area there, worries about a tsunami are not in effect for Vancouver right now. So I want to make sure people get a read on that. Now, I'm sorry, Michelle, I know I interrupted you, so go ahead.
Time has also been a factor in this. I mean, this was initially reported as happening in the middle of the night, 3:30 a.m., but in the later information that's been coming out, that's Greenwich Mean Time. That's London time, 3:30 in the morning. It was reported as 1:30 a.m. Eastern time, but that can't be correct. So of all these hours that have passed since the quake happened, I've yet to see an exact time of local time in Chile. It wouldn't take much to do that calculation, but I just haven't had time to do so. And I haven't really seen, which time is the accurate one that this occurred. I'm sure that's on the U.S. Geological Survey's website. But one report said that it happened as people were leaving discos. So this didn't necessarily happen, while most people were sleeping. Maybe it was a little bit earlier in the night. But regardless, it happened while it was dark, and that's why it has taken some time to get these pictures out and to get a better assessment of that.
I am really glad you bring that up, because that has been actually mind-bending for me to try and fathom through, because all the time we're getting, it's a 3:34 a.m. hit. It's only 1:34 a.m. in the East Coast. I'm thinking it has to be going back. I mean, if you, it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Let's get to, thank you to you, Michelle Kuczynski. Let's get right now to Carrie Sanders, who joins us live on the phone from Miami. Carrie, you've been there to Chile. Do you know how much time it is behind us? I don't know why we're unable to get that detail clarified. Is it 2 hours behind us here on the East Coast, 3 hours perhaps?
I believe it's 2 hours, but I know that there is also a daylight savings time aspect of this, that it's not, I don't believe daylight savings time figures into life there. And don't forget, we're south of the equator, so we're in a different, it's winter here, summer there. So, don't forget that as well. Things are different. People leaving the nightclubs, I mean, South America likes to party late and sometimes into early in the morning, so it's all very, I'm sorry, I haven't been focusing on that. What I have been looking at, though, is the whole tsunami question. The U.S. government, NOAA, after Banda Aceh, decided to step up the warning system, and there are 20 buoys out in the Pacific, and they're known as the DART system, the DART buoys. It's Deep Ocean Assessment Reporting of Tsunamis. And they float out there and transmit data. And so when the buoy has a rise, especially a rapid rise in elevation because of a moving wave, that information is transmitted to satellites and brought into NOAA headquarters, and they start doing some very rapid calculations to determine the size of the wave that's coming, the speed that it's moving at, and whether that wave is gathering in terms of its height. They have these buoys put out in a variety of locations. So while we have reported that the tsunami warnings will be firing off 6 o'clock local time in Hawaii, there will be perhaps some data from way out there in the middle of nowhere in the ocean before anything arrives, so people will have at least a better understanding of what is headed or is not headed their way.
Yeah. Okay. On the heels of that, Carrie, thank you very much for bringing that up, because joining me now on the phone is Vindel Su. He is from the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center. Vindel, with the morning, good morning to you. You just heard Carrie Sanders talking. How much advance warning are people getting in terms of the size, the magnitude? I mean, they know something may be coming their way, but how long will it take for them to get specifics?
Yeah, we got the earthquake located and magnitude determined within about 10 minutes after the earthquake. And in terms of tsunami warning, for this size of earthquake, we didn't wait. We issued the warning right away.
Okay, so you issued that warning. When do you know how high the waves are, at what point they're going to hit, and what the potential damage would be, and if you need to move people from low-lying areas?
After we see the first water level data, and that one is I think about 40-50 minutes after the earthquake occurred.
Yeah.
We measure about 2-3 meters of wave at one coastal station.
Yeah.
At that time, we issue a watch for Hawaii, but warning for the South American coastline.
Yeah. Vendel, I want to ask you to stay with me as I tell people what we're looking at. These are pictures just coming into us from Concepcion. That is the area just about 70 miles from the epicenter of this quake. It was about 22 miles in depth. But take a look right there. That was damage, a street that had clearly been broken apart by the magnitude of this quake. Again, 8.8 on the U.S. Geological Survey registry there. So back with you, Vendel. How concerned are you for places like Hawaii and for other places that will precede Hawaii in the brunt of this wave? We're talking about Easter Island, the Juan Fernandez Island, also known as the Robinson Crusoe Island. How much damage do you think we may be seeing?
In fact, those islands you mentioned, we all observed waves on those islands. Easter Islands, I think we got, I don't have the exact number with me right now, but we see a significant wave at the station at Easter Island. And once we have this water level data, we put them into the computer modeling software, and from that we can predict what kind of wave we are expecting at, for example, Hawaiian Islands.
Okay. Vendel Su from the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center. Vendel, thank you very much for your insights. We appreciate that.
You're welcome.
All right, everyone, we're going to stay here on this breaking news. Lots of news on behalf of Mother Nature today. We're